Hello, everybody. I hope you're well, or as well as you possibly can be. It's your girl, Jazzy. I haven't been on this account in a while. Honestly, I don't know anything about... Hi! Thank you for joining. I don't know anything about what I'm doing with this account because in my own personal journey, I feel like I'm... Oh, my faith is back. Thank you. Yeah, I've been dancing with how I want to relate to astrology these days because I'm feeling my own personal transformation happen relative to the work that I do. And I say all that to say that I have been a little bit weary of talking about astrology as much because it's shifting in the way that I relate to it. However, I say all of that to say this week I have gotten so many messages and DMs asking me what was going on cosmically because of how bonkers everybody feels. And I was like, if there was any time to go on and just share with the world what it is that they may be experiencing and how to work with it, it would be now, especially because I am also currently a victim to the energy. I feel absolutely insane. I feel so overwhelmed with my existence, and I understand cosmically what's going on, and I'm watching other people maybe fearmonger a bit with what's going on, so I wanted to just at least provide some solace and some hope on the truth that if you work with this energy, it really can be such a pivotal turning point for your life. So I want to immediately start with that. For preface, there is a eclipse going on, there is a retrograde going on, there is sun about to square Pluto going on, so there's a lot of elements relative to rebirth and transformations and new beginnings and endings. But what I think is especially important to hone in on is the fact that anytime we have an eclipse, particularly, it's always the start of a turning point. It is always a big shift. It is always the catalyst for a new chapter, a new beginning, a new era for you. Because eclipse seasons obviously are not all that common, right? We have a lot of full moons, we have new moons. Eclipse seasons are very, very particular. So I'm going to go through a little bit of what you may be feeling, the themes related to these transits and kind of how to work with them. I think the first thing that I want to say is that you may be feeling tired. You may be feeling irritable. You may be feeling like you're not getting quality sleep, like you're overwhelmed, like you're frustrated easily. You may be feeling, hi, thank you for joining. You may be feeling like you are just sort of in an irritable place with life, as if there's this sort of like static energy around you. What's beautiful about it is that anytime something is itchy during eclipse season, it's always something to look at, and it's always something to sort of inform us about what is it that we are taking off of our skin and out of our narratives, and what is going to be born through that. So yes, we're emotional right now. Eclipses are known to sort of reveal hidden truths, particularly hidden truths within ourselves, especially because this eclipse is in the sign of Aries. So what's beautiful about that is that there's a lot of energy surrounding new beginnings, initiation, writing a new story for yourself. Aries is all about self as well. So having really clear and intentional awareness on what have I learned about what my true needs are, about what my true identity is, and all of the things around me that do not honor and uphold that. And also, what am I going to do about it? There's this energy of initiation, right? It's a cardinal sign. So, like, if I'm going to dead this old story, what is the new story that I'm deciding to have be born through that? But with that, it's not all peaches and rainbows, darling. And the reason why is because in order to sort of confront all of the things that are untrue, you're going to have things fall apart. You're going to have secrets reveal themselves. You're going to have breakups and revelations and quit jobs and big conversations and all of that. So I say all that to say, if you are just experiencing the uncomfortable parts of transformation, I would just invite in as much rest as possible, particularly this week, but really this month. A lot of rest, a lot of grounding. I wouldn't put too much on my schedule, too much on my plate. I would try to have as much dead space in my schedule. Girl, my hair isn't giving. I wasn't planning on going live, you know that. So don't look at me. But I still have to say that I think especially because you're not the only one who's experiencing this retrograde and this eclipse, everyone around you is as well. So it's easy to get into arguments and confrontations and to have your emotions meeting other people's emotions rather than your logical thinking meeting other people's logical thinking. So it's just best to navigate life as groundedly, as calmly, as solitarily as possible, especially because during eclipse seasons, they're so difficult to predict that sometimes the plans that we make right now won't particularly go as planned. The conversations that we want to sort of script out in our heads before we have them probably won't follow said script. And it's beautiful because everything that is happening right now, though it may be against your own planning, is ultimately happening for you and revealing deeper truths and information that you really want to glean in terms of, okay, if this story is ending or if this truth was revealed to me, what does that mean about who I'm deciding to be, how I want to move forward? You know, Aries is, especially with this eclipse season, we're moving into a new eclipse season because the North and the South Node were in Taurus and Scorpio before. So now that we're moving into Aries and Libra, there's a new story that's going on. You may be considering a new relationship, a shift in identity, a shift in career, a shift in where you live, right? There's this really big energy. Hi, thank you for joining. There's this really big energy surrounding questions that we're asking ourselves. And what I really want to hone in and plant the seed of right now is that the best way to survive and thrive during an eclipse season particularly, but this one as well, because we have Sun squaring Pluto, Mercury retrograde on its way as well. Be honest. Like, be as honest as you possibly can. First and foremost with yourself. Aries is a sign of self, but ultimately with anybody else that is involved in whatever situations that you are going through right now. Be as truthful and as honest as possible, because if there is any way in which you are navigating with dishonesty, it's going to get revealed anyway. But ultimately, I think you are going to be immediately rewarded when you are honest with what your desires are, with what your truth is, with what your pain is, with what your wounds are, how you are playing a role in it, how someone else is playing a role in it. Just navigate with as much honesty as possible. So yes, we have this eclipse season, which is initiating a new timeline, a new story, a shift in not only our current life's narrative, but also just like just change. It's all about change. It's all about where we're living, how we're expressing ourselves, what we're doing, the people that we're around, our relationships, right? There's big shift and change there. Faded events as well, right? The people, the mentors, the synchronicities that are happening right now are not coincidental at all. The second thing going on is the day after, right? So that's on the 20th. On the 21st, we have the Sun squaring Pluto, right? So that's big transformation. That's big death and rebirth. Understanding the fact that because we're moving into a new eclipse story as well, in alignment with this squaring and with the retrograde, the endings are the beginnings and the beginnings are the endings. So get very clear on what no longer resonates with who I have learned myself to be over the course of this past month, this past week especially. Whatever has revealed itself to you relative to your truth, use that as information to build what you are deciding to live as or in or with in this next chapter. And then we have Mercury retrograde happening shortly afterwards. All of the normal retrograde things that usually happen will happen. Miscommunication, technology being weird, back up your things. However, I think with this retrograde happening at the time that it's happening, it's just calling for deeper introspection and review. I always say don't ritual with an eclipse, right? So this isn't a time to do some sort of like new moon or full moon, elaborate thing, but rather to just get really introspective. I would use that day in particular, it's Wednesday, to just like journal and to have as much quiet time as possible to really hear your internal world and ask yourself, well, what is it that you are longing for? What is it that's making you frustrated? Aries is a sign of the child too, so I would invite you to have some sort of dialogue with your inner teenager, with your inner kid, and see where they're feeling misheard, where they're feeling misunderstood, or ultimately what they need more out of your life. So yes, we're emotional, we're confronting fears, shadows, anxieties. A lot of truths are being revealed, whether it's you to you, whether your soul is admitting a truth to your ego, whether there's some sort of surrounding situation that is admitting a truth to you, whether someone else is revealing a hidden secret. Sure. Also exes may come out the woodworks. They usually do. Stories that you thought ended may reveal themselves to be still a bit open-ended. All of these are opportunities for deeper learning, deeper healing. Do with that what you will. But yeah, put as little on your plate as possible, rest as much as possible. Eclipses take a lot of our energy. So if you're feeling like I need an extra nap or I'm not getting all of my hours at night, do whatever you need to do in order to give that to yourself. Yes, eclipses, I will say, because we're starting a new eclipse story, whatever is happening right now is not just going to happen right now and that's it. This is a catalyst for a story that's going to play out throughout 2025. Or until 2025, where we'll have another shift in the nodes. So I say all that to say, whatever sort of initiating, whatever you're confronting right now is not just a transitory. This isn't just like, Venus is in Taurus, so like, give yourself pleasure this month. It's really about like, what next chapter are you stepping into, and what does it mean to live this next chapter as honestly and as bravely and as courageously as possible. Eclipses aren't that predictable, so remain grounded, whatever that looks like for you. If being grounded means amidst everything else, I'm going to come back to nature, I'm going to come back to my friends, I'm going to come back to wholesome foods, then do that. And what's beautiful about it is that it is an opportunity for us to practice what it means to surrender control, but to be very intentional about what you can control. So if you know that you cannot control how other people are going to receive your truth, or how certain conversations are going to go, or how, your boss or whatever the case may be, if you can't control that, you can control the conversations that you are courageous enough to have, the truths that you are brave enough to admit, and just like whatever role you are playing in the shift in your life, control what you can control and be very deliberate with your language and deliberate with your energy about how you approach these situations, but ultimately understand that what is out of your control should be a relief that's out of your control, because that's how you sort of co-create and you do a dance with the universe. Notice any revelations, any epiphanies, any old situations that decide to resurface, because when you look at it through a seasoned or wizened lens, you may glean deeper insight. And yeah, themes of Aries, especially with this eclipse being in the sign of Aries, the self, what do you actually truly desire, and what is going to make you happy in the way that you define happiness. There was some quote that I read this morning that I was like, and I don't remember it exactly, but it was like, free yourself from the expectations of others, or something along those lines. But yeah, it's really a time to recognize in what way have you been to any degree performative or diluting your desires for the comfort of anybody around you. I'm confronting this very largely relative to parent and parental wounds, but I say all that to say, if there's anybody that you are limiting the expression of your life for, whether it is for someone outside of you, but also if you are diluting the fullness of your life for the comfort of your ego or your fears or your inner child, or just a version of you that isn't ready to be brave, really deciding that you're going to embody the fullest version of your potential, alongside whatever difficult conversations and deeper interrogation and fears that means you have to sort of surface. That is how you work with this time. I can't stress that enough. It really is a time to be brave and courageous. Aries is all about initiation and taking action. If there are ideas that have been waiting on you, free yourself from the expectations of others. Yeah, I know, it got me too, honey. It got me too. So yeah, if there's anything that has been waiting on you to initiate it, whether it's ideas, whether it's change, whether you've been waiting on doing a move, or you've been waiting on telling someone how you feel, in whatever capacity, or quitting your job, or going after a certain job, or just initiating a project, whatever is calling on you to be brave and courageous and to decide that you want to live the fullest version of what your life is right now in this iteration of your identity, I would really call on you to do it. And it's going to get more and more irritating the more that you ignore that voice that is asking for more. So this is a time to really look at, how have I been standing in my own way? How have I been allowing things outside of me to stand in my own way? Like I said, secrets are going to get revealed, whether it's from you to you or from others to you, or whether you want to finally admit a truth to someone else. It's just a weird time. Like, I don't know how else to describe an eclipse season outside of just, they're kind of a little bit weird. People are a little bit irritable right now. Like car accidents, be very safe on the road, because people are operating more emotionally, because people who don't have the dialogue or the language to color in what it means to confront and sit with your shadows may not know how to navigate when their shadows want to make an appearance. So just know that because we're all under this cosmic weather, if you have the self-awareness enough to navigate it through a grounded lens, your mother or your father or your coworkers or your friends or your partner may not have that same awareness. And so if they're acting from a place of that inner child that's throwing a tantrum because it doesn't understand why it's feeling the way that it's feeling, or why their anxieties or their fears are louder than usual, navigate that with as much compassion as possible. Compassion and honesty, I think, are the tools necessary to not only survive but thrive this eclipse season. I really want to hone in on, because I've been seeing a lot of astrologers talk about like nothing at this time ever goes as planned, and like it is an unpredictable time, but I don't want anyone to walk into this time with fear, because that is kind of how we get in our own way. Don't be scared of this. This is so exciting. I'm someone who is such an advocate for embracing and calling in change. You feel any semblance of stagnancy in your life right now, what a gorgeous opportunity this is to decide that you're going to guide your change, right? You don't know exactly how you're going to get where you're going, what it's going to look like when you get there, who will be there and who won't, but ultimately you get to decide the ultimate vision that you are walking towards, and the people that need to be cut out along the way, the people that need to be brought in along the way, the stories, the conversations, all of that. Hi, thank you for joining. And yeah, just know ultimately if there's any comfort, we're all in this energy. And me included. I'm barely making it through, y'all. Barely making it. I wasn't even gonna do this, but I was like, the people need to know what's going on. So don't be scared, be excited, be brave, be honest, be compassionate with yourself. Try to schedule as little as you possibly can during this time so that you have rest to support whatever emotional upheaval is happening right now. This is not easy energy to work through, but it is really potent when it comes to you stepping into this new era of your life. So, oh, you guys are just joining and I'm signing off now, but definitely catch the replay. All in all, if you're feeling crazy, you are amongst a large community that also feels crazy. I'm sending you all my love. Yeah, happy eclipse season. What's the timeline again? Yes, really quickly. This eclipse is happening on the 20th, so this Wednesday. We're already in it though. Sun square Pluto happens the next day, Thursday, and then retrograde, I'm not exactly sure which day it is. I believe it's the following week. But we're already in the retrograde, retrograde shadow period. So we're already feeling all of it. So yes, sending you all my love, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, how do I? Oh, there we go.